My cousin made rude comments about my culture, so I completely cut her off.
Why you gotta be so rude?
I, female 58, have not been in contact with my cousin, female 60, since October last year, and I feel guilty even though my close family says it's the right thing to do. I feel bad for not being a friend since I don't think she has many. The only exception for the no contact is when she turned 60 and I called her to congratulate her, but I didn't send any gifts. By the way, this comes from Similar Refuse 9133. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OK Storytime subreddit. So when we were little, I was a lonely child and her mom used to work a lot. So she came to live with us for weeks on and every summer. She was with us so much. She was sort of a sister to me. Looking back, she was a bully, but she can also be very charming and fun. I believe even mom and dad were a bit scared of her when she was in a bad mood. She also drove away the only friend I had in my neighborhood by being extremely rude when said friend came to play. I still remember that day and how I stood in silence, too scared to say anything. I think I was 7. My friend left and never came back. I'm still ashamed for not defending her. I was told by my parents to be kind to my cousin since she was a guest. So I put up with a lot. But one day, I had enough and locked her in her room. I got such a scolding for that I have never seen the key to that room since. That was the only time I indicated something was not right. I was very shy and an extremely well-behaved kid. As we grew up, we continued to do things together. She came with us on family trips. And when we went to the same university, she tried to control who my friends were. That is the first time I decided to not contact her, but be civil and kind if she called. This went on for a few years, but when we started working and adult life started, I went back to normal contact. She was also not as controlling. As the years passed, we had our ups and downs, really fun time, but also her treating me like dirt.
I just don't know if the extremes are worth it. Like if the fun times are worth being treated like dirt.
Or scum. Like when she first had her first child, after she got home from the hospital, I asked her if she wanted me to visit her to see her newborn, and she said yes. As this was a huge occasion in her life, I dropped everything and took the train. It was a 4-hour trip, and when I arrived in her city, I called to ask which bus I should take to her house, but then she said she had changed her mind and didn't think it was safe for the baby to see other people. I didn't have children of my own then, so I didn't know what to say. I guess she could have given me a place to stay for the night at least. I could have kept away from her and the child. The last train had left. No.
Why would you stay friends with this person? She abandoned you in a city.
And I was alone in a strange city with nowhere to go.
She abandoned you.
That's crazy.
That's bonkers.
I started looking for a hostel to find a cheap room. However, fate would have it that I called a friend who I knew was going on a weekend cruise, departing from the same city, to get some sympathy and maybe advice. The ship hadn't left yet, and she immediately contacted the organizer as she was there as a musician. And lo and behold, one of the organizers recognized me from a jazz festival where I played and said I could tag along. So OP just happens to play sick jazz music and gets to go on the cruise?
Okay, but like,
that's
really
cool.
Awesome story. You're like, yeah, this friend that, it's not great. I was supposed to be visiting them, and then they told me to that I couldn't come, but I was already in the city and I didn't know where to stay.
And then I ripped it on the bass or the saxophone.
I literally just found this random jazz band.
A random traveling troupe, and they took me in.
And then I stayed with them for months.
Yeah, now I live with a traveling jazz band. So from standing all alone in the rain, in tears, don't know if it rained, but it sure felt like it, I ended up having a blast on a cruise ship for 2 days.
That's a fun
for free. This also meant I forgave my cousin. I mean, it was sort of because of her I had such a lovely time.
Oh, in a roundabout way.
In a super roundabout. No, it's because of your cool friend, not her. Years went on and she had a divorce. We met soon after and had a long talk. She said she realized she hadn't always been nice to me and asked me to forgive her for everything. I was in tears and happily forgave her. It was a huge relief, and I was so happy we could finally be the loving sisters that we were supposed to be since childhood. She really had changed. She was considerate in a new way. She'd always brought me gifts and been a fun companion, but what I craved was just her kindness, and now I had it. I've always felt responsible for her, and I've been very happy for her success in life. She has a great job, is well off, and also intelligent, funny, and good looking. But she has only one brother and very few friends. She can be very judgmental, and she can say bad things about others, so she drives people away. She has many good sides. She is charming and generous. She wanted to go to a luxury resort to celebrate and invited my husband and me. We couldn't afford it, so she offered to pay, $5,000. But as we couldn't afford the other half, we had declined. Oh my God, it's $10,000. for the resort, and she offered to pay half. And now to what happened 6 months ago. I was in her city for work, and my daughter was with me. We had a very exclusive invitation to a show with several performers from an indigenous people I belong to. As I felt I had neglected my cousin and not had time to do things with her, I asked my daughter if I could have her ticket, and she was okay with that. I have the heritage on both sides, but my cousin has it on her mother's side, so she is not a total outsider. My heritage is a huge thing for me and my children, so this show is a big treat. My cousin happily accepted the offer to join me and sounded really enthusiastic, but I was in for a shock. As the show started, most of the presentation between the acts was in the indigenous language. I whispered a translation in my cousin's ear as she doesn't speak any of it. It was a lovely show with music, dancing, reciting, and it took place in a small, intimate theater. To my horror, my cousin suddenly started talking to me in a voice that was not hushed.
No.
She started criticizing the performances and asking where the women were since the first acts were all male. In a sneer, she said it looked as if those indigenous people needed some Me Too.
What?
That's not even funny. I don't even know what that means.
I think she's saying like, oh, actually, I don't even know what she's saying. I can't tell if she's saying like
They look
a really
like
awful thing or if there's just not enough women there.
I feel like it's like, oh, like they're abusers. They look abusey.
Who is this woman?
I told her that there were several women performers and that actually the most famous ones were women, and told her that probably they wouldn't come to such a small gathering since they were well established and didn't have the time. I had hoped to be able to mingle during the interval and get to know some new friends, but instead I sat down with my cousin in a corner and diplomatically asked her about the show and also about what she actually thought about our heritage. I didn't want to confront her and ruin the evening totally, as I guess I am a bit afraid of her temper, but I find out she did not feel any connection with my people, which is fine, but I do think she should respect others. Yeah.
I don't know. That seems a bit crazy.
Yeah, dude. Get off your
Respecting
high
others,
horse.
that's a bit
A
of a
little
stretch.
bit too much. I mean, you can't respect others. I mean, there's too many people to respect.
I respect myself.
I also asked her not to say stuff out loud in the theater like that, since it certainly could be heard by a lot of the other people, and it was hurtful. The second act started with that very famous artist I had mentioned. It was amazing. She was so good. Unfortunately, my cousin said, so finally we get to see the A-class performers. Friend no more. Just cousin, no friend. You maybe once were friend and cousin. I said something about every act being awesome, but she did keep quiet the rest of the time. But I was sitting on needles, afraid of what she was going to say. We quickly left afterwards, and I was so ashamed. The next day, I happened on a person that had sat in front of us, and I apologized for my cousin's behavior. I felt responsible for bringing her to this unique event that should have been a safe place for everyone. I am so sad that I wasted all that on my cousin. My daughter would have loved it. In hindsight, I realized that this show was a once-in-a-lifetime thing. It was only that night, and it will not happen again. By the way, luckily, this show is not a once-in-a-lifetime thing. It happens every day, but feels once in a lifetime because
you're never going to get back these jokes.
You're never going to get back these jokes, especially if you come in live.
It's true.
So go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app and search OK Storytime. There's another relevant update, but let's discuss. Should this cousin remain a friend or should it be banished to just cousinness?
Banish it.
Banish him. I banish you, cousin. This person does not deserve as high of a place in your life as you have.
I just don't understand why we invited her to this event at all. You know, like the daughter was already ready to go. Yeah. Daughter had the ticket, and then we decided last minute to invite
because she wanted to.
Cousin,
she wanted to spend time. I don't know.
Yeah.
I say banish this person from your life. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Well,
Motion
I still feel
passed.
extremely hurt, and people around me have said that my cousin has shown she does not wish me well. I also feel like such a pushover. I should have asked her to leave instead. I have just stopped contacting her. I don't want to confront her because this was the final straw. I don't think I will ever trust her again. And also, I really don't want the drama. I still feel bad though, as if I did something wrong. So, am I the a-hole for saying nothing and just dropping horror? Or am I perhaps the a-hole for not standing up for myself? If anything, you're the a-hole for not standing up
for yourself.
Respect yourself.